So, BengalsWire.com posted an article today about 8 free agents who should interest Bengals before the NFL draft. Now, I have my list, right? And they have their list. So, let me go through my list. My first list starts off with, so this is technically going to be like more than 8, like, 10, 12 players, because I have my list too. Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt still has no team. He still is a really solid 27-year-old running back. He's an amazing receiving back plus amazing running back up the middle. If Cincinnati cannot get Zeke Elliott, I think that Kareem Hunt could be an absolute god-tier starter for them. And really could, if they wanted to, if Joe Mixon doesn't take a pay cut, you could cut Joe Mixon, have Kareem Hunt, draft 2 running backs in this upcoming draft, and then have a 3 backfield with a really good receiving back in Kareem Hunt. Or you keep Joe Mixon, and then you have a Joe Mixon backfield with Kareem Hunt, with whoever they end up drafting in this upcoming draft. Then you don't have to worry about drafting 2 running backs. You can draft 1 and focus the other one for another position. That's my number 1 running back, right? I think that he could be an absolute gem for them. He has a 66.4 receiving grade, 67.4 rushing grade, and a 67 overall grade. He is a monster altogether. And again, like I said, he's not going to cost that much. This is why I love him, right? We've talked about it on this channel so many times. Price tag. He's been on free agency this whole offseason. He still has not signed with anybody. That means most likely his price tags not going to be outlandish. His price tags not going to be crazy. We're not talking about a $16 million player for 1 year. We're talking about possibly a league minimum 1.08 contract, nothing guaranteed. You give him a roster spot. If he ends up panning out, he ends up panning out. If he doesn't, he doesn't, right? You're not forced or committed to anything. You're getting a guy who could be a good player, could be a gem for the future, but it's not like you have to commit to anything when it comes to him. So, again, my personal opinion, great player here. Second player I have here is going to be, is it Josh Wiley? Why did I think Josh Wiley? I don't know why. Isaiah Wynn. Right tackle, was a New England Patriot for the longest time, and he is an absolute gem right tackle. He's 28 years old, has a lot of football left in him, and he's an absolute freaking monster left tackle. This is a guy I think Cincinnati could target. Again, like I said, league minimum. You're not spending that much money on him. You're giving him the bare minimum to bring him in and have him compete in the right tackle position. Now, at the end of the day, you know, let's say that right tackle position, he doesn't work out for. Like, he doesn't work out in the end. Who cares then? Now you still have a star gem player who just didn't work out in the end. You're not losing much by bringing him in if you're bringing him in for nothing guaranteed and just giving him a chance to compete. Giving a player a chance to compete, in my opinion, is one of the best things you can do. Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't work out, you know, you cut your losses, you walk away, your hands are still clean, right? But if he does work out, well, now you got yourself a freaking gem who can compete for that starting spot. We talked about many times, guys, depth matters more than anything. You want to have good depth on the roster. You want to be able to really bolster this roster up. Isaiah Wynn, next guy. Next guy on here is going to be Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp, great strong safety. I know we got Nick Scott. I love Nick Scott. I think Nick Scott is a star, a gem overall wise. But I think another really good player could be Taylor Rapp. He could be a really good versatile safety to kind of have in different situations and be a rotational piece. Again, depth. I'll say it a gazillion times. But those are 3 players I want to see Cincinnati sign in some capacity before the NFL draft. Let's go ahead and talk about the players that they want, though. Keep in mind also, they still do have to sign Burrow to an extension and also sign, to extension? T. Higgins. So keep that in mind. And also, they probably want to get Logan Wilson eventually on a contract extension. That's another thing. I don't know why this website is not loading. Is it just not gonna... It's just not loading for Cincinnati. For some reason, over the cap is just not working for the Bengals. It's working for every other team but the Cincinnati Bengals right now. Is everyone just clicking on the Bengals? Okay. We can't see the Bengals cap for some reason. Okay, whatever. They have around, I believe, like 9 or 10 million right now, the Bengals. For some reason, this is so weird how this always works. And it's working for every other team. Like, see the Browns? Look at the Bengals. Nothing. Colts? It's loading. Cincinnati Bengals? Nothing. Not sure what's going on there. Eli Apple, #1 player, it says that Cincinnati should target. Listen, I like Apple. I really do. I think Apple is a player you target after the draft. So after you go into this draft, right, and you get your pieces, you get your puzzle pieces together, you figure out who you want, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, then you come back after the draft, and let's say Eli Apple is still available, that's when you target Eli Apple. You target him after the draft is over, and you have all the pieces to your puzzle, because he's not going anywhere. Him and Trey Flowers have still not been signed yet. And while I think Trey Flowers has a better chance of being signed, I don't think anyone's going to go out to Eli Apple or, pull him from under your feet. He's not going to be the rug that gets pulled up from under your feet. So I think, in all honesty, you wait on Eli Apple. Apple is not, he's a luxury, if anything, just to have on this team. Because at this moment in time, you got Sidney Jones to be that fourth corner. You got your Cheeto is probably going to come back. Well, I think they're expecting Cheeto to be back by week 1 and be healthy. So you got your starting roster good. And let's say in the draft you don't target any corners, then you bring back Eli Apple for a very league minimum contract. Let's say in the draft you target corners and you get a couple good ones. Well, Apple, your time in Cincy is done. Right? That's kind of how I look at it right now when it comes to Eli Apple. I'm not saying you can't get Eli Apple. I'm not saying you can't target Eli Apple. But at the same time, you can't sign him. I'm saying if you're going to sign him, you're probably going to sign him after the draft. Right? He's a player I say target after the draft. Drew Stample, I don't really see the point of this. I get the point. You're like, oh, well, we want to add depth to the roster. We want to add more players to the roster. That's smart, right? But if you go into this draft and you get out of this draft and you don't at least have one tight end on the roster from the draft, then that's an L draft. That's an L draft right there. Because this tight end class is so freaking amazing, you're going to get a tight end in this draft. You might get 2 tight ends in the draft. You might be able to get, what's his name? You might be able to get, Darnell Washington and Josh Wiley. You might be able to get Sam Laporta and Josh Wiley. You might be able to get Sam Laporta and Peoples. You might be able to get a lot of different options in this draft, right? And again, do you take tight end in the 7th round? It's very possible. You can. So I don't see the scenario/situation where they don't take 2 tight ends in this draft. And you also already have some on the roster. So I don't really see the point of going for him. I get it. He's a well-rounded player and he's a 2nd round pick. And he's also really good at blocking. But it's just not really the guy I would go for. Dan Arnold, no. This is a player who's going to cost a little bit of money. So Rock Ya-Sin was a Las Vegas Raider last year, and he's going to cost a good amount of money. He visited with the Baltimore Ravens. They didn't sign him because of contracts, and I don't think Cincinnati's going to also sign him at that point either. Now, could you sign to a 1 year? Again, keep in mind, all these players I'm listing right here, you could sign to 1 year league minimum $1.06 million deals. I have no problem with that. My problem is I don't think Rock Ya-Sin is going to sign that kind of contract. He's going to want a 3-year, 4-year deal, and he's going to want a decent amount of money. That's not what the Bengals need right now. They don't need to go sign someone who's a big name or big money or anything like that. They need to get somebody right now who is just a depth piece. Get some depth pieces and then worry about starters after the draft if you still have positions of need, which you shouldn't. Leonard Fournette, playoff Lenny, late off Lenny. I'm good. Jerick McKinnon, I'm good, man. I say Kareem Hunt over Jerick McKinnon any day. Dalton Weiser, if he wants to take league minimum, and start behind and sit behind what's his name? Sit behind our current left guard, then I'm fine with that. But if he wants a contract and wants some good money, no. I still think, and he's 28 years old, left guard. He's played every single snap. He's gonna probably warrant some money, and at this moment in time, again, like I said, there's just no point. There really is just no point. There's good draft guards in this draft. He's 53.4 run blocking, 72.6 pass blocking. I just couldn't see it happening. I know they're gonna say Yannick. I knew they were gonna say Yannick Ngakoue. Listen, Yannick Ngakoue is a great pass rusher. He would be a great 4-3 piece on this defense. The problem is he's going to cost an arm and a leg. And the salary cap is here, and Yannick would destroy it. And you got Burrow you're about to give a contract to. Negotiations has opened up. T. Higgins contract extension. It just isn't logical to go out there and sign a crazy pass rusher. When, again, this upcoming draft, you could go for a pass rusher and get a good pass rusher. So all of these players are listed here. Obviously, for league minimum, yes. But some of those players, like Eli Apple, maybe even Rocky and Sin, at the end of the day, could you add them after the draft? Very possible. But no player that they listed right here, I am interested in before the draft. My players, I'm interested in before the draft. But their guys, not really. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.